Hello and welcome to the Webcast for Sunday, June 28th. I'm South Ops meteorologist Jonathan O'Brien. Visible satellite this morning shows a very deep marine layer persisting, especially across the south coast. In fact, the layer has become so deep that the cloud pattern is being disrupted in some cases with a few holes in the overcast. As a deep trough remains over the west, this general pattern will continue for several days to come. We continue to see windy conditions over the interior this morning, although conditions have subsided some since yesterday. Here's a look at the current wind observations with the wind gust values shown in red. There's still widespread interior breeziness, but gusts this morning are mostly 45 miles per hour or less. These gusty winds will persist, but with the speeds having come down some and the continued cooling temperatures, all of the red flag warnings that had been in effect for interior portions of the region have been allowed to expire, so there are no longer any red flag products in effect. Speaking of the cool temperatures, here's a look at the forecast highs for today with some impressively cool values for this time of year. Southern California Valley highs will mainly be confined to the 70s, with only mid-80s in the San Joaquin Valley and the low deserts struggling to crack 100. And as we look at the upper air maps for the next several days, the big story will remain this highly unusual western U.S. troughing pattern that is more typical of deep winter than early summer. As time goes on, we will see the trough gradually weaken, but only very slowly. By late this week and into the 4th of July holiday, weak high pressure may attempt to establish itself somewhere over the western or southwestern U.S., but it remains to be seen how quickly that process may occur. And in the meantime, the cool weather will continue. While today may be the coolest day overall, only very slow moderation is expected through most of this week. Here's a look at the forecast highs by Thursday, still far below where we should be this time of year. A deep marine layer will remain highly prevalent with night and morning low clouds expanding onto the coastal slopes. Clearing is likely to be slow, patchy, and in some cases non-existent for the next several days, although as we're seeing today, the marine layer may be deep enough at times for the cloud pattern to become locally disrupted. While the marine layer will be very deep, the air above and inland from it will still be quite dry since this troughing is a little more of the inside slider variety. So while high humidities will extend further inland than usual, minimum humidities of 12 to 25% will remain common across the interior for most of the upcoming week, and even drier in the deserts. However, recoveries will be mostly good overall outside of the desert areas. With the continued deep troughing pattern, southwest to northwest winds of 20 to 30 miles per hour with gusts to 50 miles per hour will remain common across the interior mountain ridges and desert passes for most of the coming week. Today and into Monday will feature some enhanced northwest to north breeziness across the central coast and in the San Joaquin Valley, including some overlap with some lower RH areas. The flow will turn back more due westerly by Tuesday and tend to stay that way from there. By late this week and into the July 4th holiday, a slow but steady warming trend appears poised to continue. Valley highs may recover into the mid-80s to low 90s by the time we get to the 4th, which is at least getting us closer to normal, but there is no potential for any extreme heat through the holiday. Dry weather is also favored to continue through next weekend, although there is a slight chance that moisture from an offshore tropical low could become a factor, so we will keep an eye on that. The cool weather and deep marine layer are causing our fire danger indices to plummet this weekend. Here's a look at the latest ERC chart for the South Ops region as a whole. While some PSAs are getting dinged more than others, we are definitely moving into a state of reduced overall fire potential compared to normal in most of the region. And as we look at our area-wide large fire probability, we will drop all the way down into the low category today and likely for at least the next few days, well below where we should be this time of year and with only light initial attack expected. There will remain some conditional fire spread potential across the interior and especially the deserts due to the breezy and dry conditions there, but concerns should largely be confined to light fuels and single burn periods on well-aligned starts. The potential for any major multi-burn period fires, and particularly anything involving heavier fuels, is going to be well below where it would normally be over the next several days. By next weekend, including the 4th of July holiday, fire potential may gradually trend upwards due to the gradual warming trend, with increased IA likely due to the holiday. However, the lack of extreme heat and the preceding cool pattern will still work to limit potential. That's it for today's webcast. Thanks for joining us. Next one will be on Monday, June 29th.